then it was time. This is the right file, right? Yeah. The Vriska. After another month is swallowed into this dystopian 20... Oh, one moment. I forgot to remix the audio. That's probably the right level. Okay. After another month is swallowed into the dystopian 2020 abyss, the march towards social media supremacy continues unabated. Last week, you leapfrogged over Katy Perry. Today, you just slid past Miley Cyrus. Both accounts took 7 years to reach their marks, while yours only took 3 months to surpass them. The woman you just eclipsed, Miley, has been outspokenly critical of law enforcement through her platform. But as far as you're aware, she's never personally ended the life of an officer or given the orders to execute an entire precinct. Pathetic, really. And it's the little touches like this which make all the difference when it comes to clawing your way to the top. It's a matter of commitment, you think? You've been catching a lot of bitches slipping lately, and rankings have served them notice. Due to resuming control of your empire with your distinct personal touch, life here on the island has stabilized after a rocky start in the days following the evacuation. A few deft political maneuvers have brought stability to your stolen summer colony, but the same can't be said for the rest of the nation, and at this point, many parts of the world as well. The US is becoming increasingly fractured due to the many localized Jubilite insurrections, and a great number of police stations across the nation have fallen. Certain regions of America which now represent unpoliced, demilitarized pockets of Jubilite-controlled territory have gotten so large, Ring 3 has categorized these parts of the map as Jubilite counties. That is, entire counties in the US, where majority of all police stations have been commandeered, and the number of counties which qualify has been making everyone in the government extremely nervous. Nervous enough to begin listening to certain demands you've been making for weeks. In recent days, hostilities in the country have been finally starting to cool off. This is because of negotiations you just completed, which have resulted in a treaty between the Jubilite movement and the US government. The treaty grants formal recognition of the island of Nantucket as a sovereign nation totally independent from the United States, which is now called New Wemsify. I forgot. The mainland agrees to keep the power running, and all naval blockades lifted so you can continue supplying the island with needed resources. In exchange, you've agreed to a non-aggression pact with the US and have publicly called for a nationwide cessation of hostilities from your Jubilite militias. No more capturing police stations, and no more expansion of Jubilite country territory. For now. Your movement has been seeping into the fabric of global politics as well. Certain nations have started showing signs of instability, as the insurrections dominated by clowned-up faces have swelled to enormous sizes around the world. While such volatility has stalled in the US due to your treaty, it's only been picking up steam in other nations. You've begun to lose track of what's happening where, since there's so much to observe all at once, and you've had your hands full with domestic matters. But what hasn't gone unnoticed to you is the broader cultural phenomenon it's become in such a short period of time. Many celebrities are outwardly identifying as Jubilites now, both feeling emboldened by the political strength of the movement and enticed by the fashionable statement it's become to clown up in solidarity with the rebellious spirit of your manifesto. Obama making a stink face. It's great. Most of these people you could hardly give a fuck about, but you're flattered nonetheless. However, you were floored when you heard Post Malone himself was hopping into your tent. He even got some new clownish face tattoos to mark his newfound dedication to your cause. You have no idea if he found out what a huge fan of his you are, but you think you'd die of embarrassment if he knew. Sometimes you wonder if Abby sent him a sneaky message behind your back to lure him into the fold. You'd fuck her up if you found out she did that. Speaking of which, it seems Abby has managed to use her newfound celebrity influence to climb the ladder to her own faves. She's now in contact with their leader, Namjoon, which she seems incapable of going more than 15 minutes without mentioning. When you start getting wind of a decidedly familiar-sounding movement picking up steam in South Korea, with everybody's favorite 7 boys at the helm, you can naturally assume Abby used her wiles to convert them to your cause. But, to your surprise, Abby didn't have to do much strong-arming at all. It turns out you already had more in common than you thought. Apparently, the boy band was curious about what all the commotion in America was really about, and Abby was more than happy to cut through the media play and walk them through it. She befriended Namjoon, and after many extensive dialectics about justice and the perils of capitalism, it seems the boys were inspired to start a revolution on their own terms. According to what you're hearing on the news, they've already managed to take over their entire entertainment studio, completely ousting the previous ownership. In their new position of political leverage, they're galvanizing the people of their own nation to stand up for positive social change. They seem to have an inordinately principled aversion to murder, which leaves you a bit pessimistic about the ultimate efficacy of their methods. But you'll let them play the game the way they want. For now. Indeed, it appears as if a global movement is fomenting in the wake of the Jubilate Uprising. Just like in South Korea, parallel movements are cropping up across the world. Some of these insurrections are being waged explicitly in your name, while others are undoubtedly the unique product of the political conditions of those particular regions. But by whatever banner they fly, people of the world are rising in a tide. Meanwhile, it's finally time for another formal debriefing. It's been a full month since your last one, when you delegated control of advanced praxis to the rising star of the organization, Joculin. But you haven't been to a briefing since, because you didn't want to make a habit of those meetings. Too much ass-kissing, too much micromanagement of stuff you can't be bothered with, and you've been way too busy with high-stakes diplomacy anyway. You've just allowed some slack to develop on these projects on her, You've just allowed her the slack to develop these projects on her own while you kept a close eye on her. It's Mizzlebit. And it looks like she's made the most of that slack. The roster of Rig 3. Appears to have dramatically expanded under Joculin's administration. A whole lot of new clown faces here. But that's not too surprising. If there's one thing you've learned to never be surprised by, it's the unrelenting accrual of new clowns. More clowns than you could possibly ever know what to do with. Zee! What a pleasure it is to make your appearance at our, to see you make an appearance at our headquarters. It's been too long since I've had the honor of briefing you in person. And may I just say, the diplomatic work you've been doing has been remarkable, Z. Thanks, but you really should be referring to me as Supreme Honk Effects. Oh, yes. I am so sorry. A slip of the tongue. It will never happen again. Now, may I lead you inside so I can begin with the briefing? My Advanced Praxis division has been making some incredible strides lately. No, let's stay outside. Could use the fresh air. Just follow me and say whatever you want to say. First, may I say, If it ever appears that I condescend to describe the tenets of advanced praxis to their author, it is only for the purpose of fully elaborating on them for a wider audience. Such as this gallery of rogues here. Who knows how well read these chucklefucks are on Jubilite theory, am I right? I kid, of course. We're all friends here, and we like to joke around. That's what's so good about this movement, don't you think? We keep things light and humorous, while other ideologies just get so stuffy and self-important. Not us, though. Right. Just wanted to make it clear that any, over-explaining I may do is simply for the sake of providing a well-rounded presentation to all, yes? That said, let's take it from the top. Advanced praxis. The more elite ranks of the Jubilite movement have already been introduced to these teachings. It's still being kept from the masses, at your discretion of course, so as not to alert our targets to our methods too blatantly. But there will come a time when these ideas will permeate the global Jubilite movement to maximize their effect. Soon, I imagine, when it is clear enough to the world that there is no turning back. And I would hazard that the recent work you have done, securing the sovereignty of New Wemsify, puts us closer to that moment than ever. So, what is it we are doing? The core to these principles is quite simple. It relies on the premise that in order to destroy evil systems of overwhelming power, there is no tactic whatsoever that should be off the table. Everything the bastards are capable of doing to advance their goals, we are capable of doing too, and we must. So, if the rich and powerful use their staggering wealth to entrench themselves in their positions of supremacy, then if we are also able to accumulate similar amounts of wealth, which we have thanks to your brilliance, this means it isn't merely a good idea to use those levers to attack their power. It means we are obligated to use them. It is in fact the only way to defeat them. To abide more honorable practices would be to cede advantages to them which are counterproductive to us and wholly undeserved to them. And so, empowered thusly by our supreme honk effects, about a month ago I went to work with various channels of the most resourceful Jubilites I could find, not to mention the ones with the least scruples about getting their hands dirty. Good people, really. A dutiful ensemble of particularly salty clowns who just want to make the biggest difference possible, just like me. So let's begin with an example of how one might use such levers. It's well known among other echelons of our organization that Secretary Apple Pie herself targeted her own parents in a bold initial implementation of praxis. But the success of that approach, while phenomenally instrumental in jump-starting this movement, fell far short of total success. They've managed to secure most of their assets. So what other options exist? Well, one of the most direct tactics spelled out by the Supreme Honk Effects is to apply assets towards legitimate acquisitions. A relatively small financial firm handles all their money. And once you have billions of dollars in the bank, the question becomes, can't you just outright buy certain companies, take control of them, and then begin to manipulate them to your advantage? Why not? Billionaires and corporations everywhere do this all the time. Buy out competition, or purchase smaller inconvenient companies simply to strip or destroy them. Or absorb smaller companies into bigger ones, after retrofitting them to suit a new purpose. This can work. We have had success with that approach in a few cases. The problem is that it's a bit slow, and very much involves operating within the legal boundaries of a complex system in order to inflict damage on said system. There are much faster ways, and that's when things get more fun. As our Supreme Honk Effects rightly points out, why go to the expense and bother of purchasing a company when you can simply compromise many of the people who are already running it? It's so much faster that way, and it cuts through a lot of the red tape. Many of the people working in these financial firms are a bunch of spineless nerds. While, while used to handling the amount of money we're talking about, are not used to actually being paid that much. This makes them highly susceptible to bribery, while their spinelessness makes them susceptible to acts of intimidation and coercion. And if you run into some guys who are afraid of the law, that's where a good exit package can help. Just dangle a few million in front of a greedy coward, along with some... Coward. There we go. Along with some plane tickets to somewhere in South America. Well, some new identity papers, whatever it takes. And then you have someone who is suddenly very cooperative in helping you move a few billions in assets around. But sometimes even all that isn't quite enough to get results. Sometimes you have a couple of really tough customers who've been fleeced already, and they've already locked everything down. Such as the secretary's parents, for instance. With hard targets like that, there are certain tactics of last resort which can help move things along. If you catch my meaning. That isn't your call to make. Oh yes, I know that. I wouldn't even dream of greenlighting such a play without your express approval first. I'm just saying, it's always on the table for any of these depraved capital hoarding vultures, not just her parents. I was just using them as a convenient example. So, why don't you tell me what's actually been done instead of explaining all my shit back to me? Absolutely. I'll waste no more of your time, Supreme Honkifax. We can all see you must attend to geopolitical concerns of a higher magnitude than my modest little accounting report. So I shall cut straight to the chase. Jesus. First, I should mention I've been dividing acquisitions over the last month between two columns. Hard assets and soft assets. Assets, of course, are anything of value. Cash, stocks, bonds, deeds to property, equity of any sort. Hard assets are now under the direct control of the Jubilite organization, such as money in one of our bank accounts or property owned by one of our members and offered up to the organization. The total hard assets are now valued at well over 200 billion. Damn. Right? Not bad for a month of advanced pranksters. Tireless, round-the-clock pranksters by yours truly, mind you. But still a nice haul if I say so myself. But it gets better. Soft assets I have defined as those not technically in our possession. These are assets still controlled by outsiders who happen to be seriously compromised by us in some way. This means that in the event it becomes necessary, there is a high likelihood that the assets could be transferred over to us. Naturally, it's harder to get a concrete tally of these resources, but my estimates have our global soft assets at about 1.5 trillion. That's a lot of fucking money. It sure is. It turns out it's a lot easier to move this kind of money around than you'd think, since there's barely any real footprint to our movement. If we want to quietly transfer stock from an hedge fund to our portfolio, it's just assigned to one of our members, rather than a formal Jubilite entity that's easily traced. We're also counting occupied property as hard assets. That is, any empty house or building our forces have seized, which authorities have deemed too difficult to reclaim. For instance, we have well-armed Jubilites stationed in thousands of empty summer homes in Martha's Vineyard alone. That is billions of dollars worth of property, not even to speak of the value of the entire island on which we stand. Such seizures have been taking place almost everywhere in the world. I must say it makes accounting estimates difficult. However, I believe you will find my rough figures to be quite reliable. All these people you compromised to account for the $1 trillion in soft assets. Where are these people? Everywhere. I began by targeting the most obvious pressure points of the American economy. The big investment firms, banks, and such. But the more I began delegating the generalized principles of advanced praxis through my networks, the more our people began to improvise and target many more entities. There are now thousands of Jubilite operatives working on this. They're squeezing marks in all the big companies. Amazon, Exxon, Facebook. A lot of people in Facebook, actually. Including Zuckerberg himself, I don't mind stating with a certain amount of pride. Huh. Really? Trust me, Supreme Honk Effects. We've got this guy by the balls. Nice. Sounds like that should come in handy. Oh, believe me, it already has. It turns out compromising the human resource infrastructure of just about any major corporation yields a wider range of benefits than just increasing the financial fluidity of our movement. Pull the strings on a social media giant, control narratives more easily. On an energy giant, influence global geopolitics to your advantage. On an entertainment giant, well, you can change a lot of hearts and minds that way, can't you? Unless... What are you getting at here? I've been quite pleased to see Secretary Apple Pie herself taking up the cause of advanced praxis. Totally unprompted and uninstructed. Also, without including me in the loop or coordinating with any of my networks in any way. Are you talking about Abby's K-pop shit? Yes! Her excellent work with that Korean group, which is remarkably popular. Somehow, by utilizing the world-renowned status she has achieved through your visionary work, she has convinced the band members to engage in praxis and commandeer the entertainment company they are under contract with. Yeah, I know about this. This company made about $500 million last year in revenue. And yet, due to the way the secretary has gone about this, she has not compromised them in a way that will allow our organization to siphon any of that revenue away from the company. That's why it's so important for those engaging in advanced praxis to stay connected with my network, to make sure we benefit from each operation. I understand that this was a pet project of hers, because she admires these particular musicians. Yeah, it was. I thought she was just fucking around. I'm amazed she got them to actually do it. As am I. Nothing but respect for my secretary. I don't think she compromised them, though. I think they're just doing their own thing. Like, taking control of their own shit and vibing with some of the same anti-imperialist stuff we do. I think Abby's just having fun helping them out is all. And there surely is no harm to having a bit of fun during all this. That's what praxis is all about, right? But I'd also wonder what the exact utility of establishing such high-profile contacts with no intention of exploiting them is. Abby would never let us do that. Precisely. Which is why I can't help but feel... What? Well, considering her rank, and the influence she holds, the example she could be setting, I can't help but feel that, as much as I love everything she's contributed to our movement, that perhaps someone could be occupying her position who possibly contributes a little more to the movement. Tangibly, I mean, in terms of improving the bottom line. Someone who helps bring a strong financial return on all these advanced praxis efforts. You know? Huh? 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 Are you ready for it to happen? Are we all ready for it to happen? Chat? Yeah. I mean, you aren't wrong. The type of person you described would objectively be a better fit for the number 2 spot. Can't even argue with that. Everything you just said honestly sounds like fucking incredible. Really sensational work. In a month, you got more money coming in than I thought we'd get in, like, years? I guess that's what makes this such a shame. What's a shame? Down goes Joculin. Traitors get bullets. So I guess you must have heard about what happened today. Abs. Abby. Bitch, I'm trying to have a conversation with a normal person. Incredibly, having to spend all day with a bunch of weird ass-kissing clowns makes me feel like I'm losing my mind. Yeah, sorry. I'm just in the middle of an important conversation. Is that your K-pop boy? Yes. How's it been going with him? Very good. It still feels surreal being on speaking terms with one of my idols, though. Guess I can relate. I mean, to him, not to you. Feels like somebody tells me something like that every day now. Yeah. I guess cult of personality is a powerful thing. It sucks, actually, but yeah. So, you hatching more schemes over there with what's-his-face? The leader boy? Namjoon? Yeah. I think at this point you're just forgetting their names on purpose. Maybe you should cut it out. Didn't you used to hate it when people got your name wrong? Yeah, I did. Until I changed my name and it stopped mattering. Maybe they should pick cool new names for themselves like me. They did! When BTS was just starting out, Namjoon started calling himself Rap Monster. Oh, Jesus Christ. Well, never mind then. So, you got him to hijack his shitty record label. What's next? More pranksters? Yeah, we're talking about a few options. It's crazy the amount of influence they have over what could happen in their country. Probably even more than you have here. Well, yeah, clearly. I'm just an American anti-hero cult figure or something, but enemy number one of the state. Those guys are so benign. Way too much cuck energy to be threatening to anyone. But I'm glad to see you're helping them fuck things up. I'm not really trying to fuck anything up, though. I'm just happy to see them taking full control of their destiny as artists. And I'm barely even doing anything for them. It's all they're doing, really. What about you? Haven't you made inroads with people you admired? I saw that Post Malone's a Jubilite now. It sure seems that way. Got some new clown tats and everything. Fucking wild. So, why don't you reach out? I can't. I just embarrass myself and fangirl out if I talk to him. I'd blow my whole mystique. Besides, I don't think I can in good conscience drag Post deeper into this mess. It would probably destroy the poor guy's life. I'm not saying go mess with him or anything. I bet he would like to hear from you. I know this is all insane and very serious business all the time, but I still think you should get in the original spirit of, it when you can. You know, try to have fun. Fun. Yeah, right. How can I think about fun? Do you know what I had to do today? Yeah, you already tried to ask me. I was just trying to keep my mind occupied so I don't have to dwell on that stuff. And sure, you had good reasons for dealing with Joculin that way. You're trying to keep us all alive here, and that probably means making tough decisions. But anything like that, like violent stuff, it really triggers me even thinking about it, so I have to figure out ways to keep myself sane. I know. I don't mean to push it in your face. I never even told you about her because I didn't want to upset you. Told me what? About a month ago, I figured out she was one of the girls who terrorized me after my breakdown a few years ago. And somehow she climbed the ladder as an undercover clown. Oh, geez, that is really scary. I don't even think she had a problem with me after all this time. I doubt she even believed in anything. She never actually cared about it, my original problematic shit I got canceled for. She just enjoyed using it as an excuse to trash me. And then she saw a chance to get involved with something cool and make herself important, and took it. Wouldn't be surprised if her long game was gunning for my spot, not just yours. I just didn't tell anyone I knew so I could keep a close eye on her. At least it's over. Yeah, but I have to be more careful. What a fucking train wreck all this is. Anyone could be anyone. Really cool of me to build an organization which by definition lets your membership conceal who you really are. I just need a tighter ring, that's all. I got too sloppy. I'm sure you'll figure it out. We've really painted ourselves into a corner here. There's so much danger, and we can't really reverse course, so hope you don't mind if I sink myself into these distractions. Yeah, that's fine. We just vibing tonight. You want some? No thanks. I'm good with the wine. You really must be tapping into the dregs by now. How much is that bottle? Couple hundred, I think? Ugh. Ew. Oh, that is the nasty shit. You might as well just go out to the barn and top your glass off with Dave Hasselhoff's dick. It's fine. Anyway, since when did you start blazing it? Since like 1 billion tons of weed started getting smuggled onto the island. Seems like a lot of land is getting adapted to weed farming now. That's cool, I guess. New Whimsify does need an economy after all. Seems like a good export model. Did you order people to do that? Nope. A lot of shit just sort of happens now. I barely have to do anything operational, except preside over the occasional clown execution. Yeah, let's hope that duty stays very occasional. I don't know, my hater list is pretty long by now. Oh, please tell me you're joking. What, about doing more clown executions? Yeah, I was joking. But about the list, it's an actual thing. I thought you knew about it. Yeah, I do know. I was hoping you'd just stop keeping up with it at some point. Are you still actually maintaining it? Well, damn it, Z. There are just so many fucking people out to get us. Really bad people. It's not even just old shitty haters like Joculin anymore. I'm tracking nasty government and media people too. Bunch of corporate types. Awful guys, you know? Yeah, I get it. They're all terrible. I just think this hit lift stuff is really unhealthy for you. Like, psychologically. makes you really paranoid, and I'm worried that you... What? I just don't want to see you spiral into that dark place that got you started on this all over again. I'll be fine. I know I complain about shit, but I feel much better than I ever did. Everything has a purpose now. I don't need to struggle with my direction in life or what I'm trying to accomplish. That's great and all. And I know you're smarter than me, so sometimes I feel crazy pointing out stuff that sounds like really basic. But all these lists of people you keep, isn't that the kind of thing dictators do? Like, keep track of all the people they don't like who are expendable? That's a pretty melodramatic take. I'm not planning a mass purge of haters and antis if that's what you're asking. If only because most of these fucking maggots aren't even worth the energy. Alright, if you say so. But I hope you don't mind if I just keep pulling back from all this in any way I can. I'll always be here for you, of course. But I've been considering just deactivating my social media accounts soon. Are you sure about that? No, it's just something I'm thinking about. To get a little more distance from everything. Keep myself sane. People will see it as a formal resignation from your position at the chain of command, though. Someone else would need to fill the void, and you're the only person I can trust. I know that. I'm really wrestling with it. I want to keep supporting you. I just haven't decided what to do yet. Alright then. I'm gonna go piss while you think about it. Gave K-pop monster my regards. While Abby talks to her new friend, who once named himself after a monster, you stare in the mirror at her old friend, who may be in the process of turning herself into one. So much crazy stuff is happening constantly, it can be easy to start feeling numb to it. But maybe it's a good idea to reflect on certain surreal truths now and then. Like how maybe it feels pretty messed up when your chill wine buddy has to sincerely offer cautionary remarks about turning into Joseph Stalin. That's ridiculous, of course. Yes, many revolutionaries after tasting success would hear the siren song of mass murder, but you know in your heart you are different. You've never been more sure that you're doing this for all the right reasons, and anyone who tried to convince you otherwise would probably regret it. An urgent news article is blowing up on your phone. Nothing ever blows up on your phone unless it's highly relevant to your movement. The fans and key members of your organization are always the first to push the story hard, and it always makes you nervous when it happens. Big stories rarely feel like they contain good news for you. And this one is certainly no exception. The report says Abby's parents' mansion has just exploded. Both are presumed dead, but there is no official confirmation of their deaths. But you don't need confirmation. You know they're dead. Your people did this. There is no other explanation, and they wouldn't have done it if they weren't sure the targets were inside at the time. You feel sick. This was Joculyn. It had to be her. The bitch greenlit those orders behind your back before she died. When she floated the idea to you, it wasn't a hypothetical. The orders were already out. Fuck! You're afraid to go back and talk to Abby. You have no idea how you can break this to her. In fact, you probably don't even need to. She must have seen it on her phone already. What do you say? How can you explain this? You tiptoe out of the bathroom. You take impossibly tiny footsteps back to the living room. Maybe, if you walk slowly enough, you'll simply never arrive. Hey. I'm sorry. I'll be okay. Part of me always sensed this day might come. It wasn't supposed to, though. It was Joculyn. She mentioned something about it, but I had no idea she already put this in motion without telling me. And I guess I killed her before she had a chance to reverse the order. It's my fault. No, it's mine. I went along with it at the beginning and it just kept going. I could have stopped it at any time, but I enjoyed it as much as you did. I finally felt like I was reclaiming part of my soul by ripping them off. A part of me that benefited from all their money at the expense of others. I thought if we could use their money to make a difference, it would make me feel better. But it went too far. All of this did. I mean, they weren't good people, though. I know they weren't. It wasn't their fault, though. They just made too much money and spent too much time with the wrong people. Listened to too much bullshit. And they were family. I didn't want this. Personally speaking, I know this feels really heavy right now, but you get used to being free of your bad parents. I'm sure it'll feel liberating after you let some time go by. I don't think that's a nice thing to say right now. But I'm too sad to be mad about it. I have to deactivate my account. I'm sure you'll be able to find someone who isn't a backstabber to help you. I'll still follow you all the way because I love you. But there are certain things I can't do anymore. The feeling of heartbreak leaves a void. Rage fills it quickly, as usual. At first, it's anger at yourself. You knew Joculyn was a traitor, but you strung her along for an entire month, letting her play your games while you were biding your time, waiting for the right moment to put her down. If only you hadn't been so lenient. You could have pulled the trigger weeks earlier, before she had the chance to get carried away. Or you could have just shot her the day you found out about her treachery. But why should you be angry at yourself? She was the one who killed Abby's parents, and she was the one who canceled you. Beating yourself up for your leniency is just playing into the hands of people like this. It's letting them win. No, she's the one who deserves all your rage. Everyone like her deserves your rage, and maybe even more than just that. Maybe they all deserve what Joculyn had coming as well. But you can't start thinking that way. You remember what Abby was telling you? About your hater lists, about what that could lead to. You've already hurt her so much. You can't let yourself put her through more grief than she's already endured. You don't know how you'd be able to live with yourself if you destroyed her. You're exhausted. You tell yourself the same thing you've been telling yourself most nights when trying to get to sleep. All these problems will probably seem less insane and unsolvable in the morning. You're never right, obviously. But you tell yourself anyway, like a comforting lullaby. hiatus? Yes. Don't go. We need to talk. Where would I go? As long as you feel driven to survive, I will always be with you. I mean, don't fuck off suddenly. I need more answers. No. I need help. I am only unavailable the moment you wake up. Your time with me is only fleeting if you waste it. I need to know if you're real, or am I just losing it? If I were a figment of your imagination, couldn't I just answer yes, I am real? Your subconscious could insist on my reality through this lie, to continue tricking you. And if I were real, couldn't I simply lie about that as well, to plant seeds of doubt in your head about the origin of the ideas we're sharing with the world? This just sounds like a fancy bullshit way of saying maybe I can't trust anything you say. But perhaps you can't. Didn't you already know that? Why are you asking me to confirm something to you, when you know the mere act of confirmation could be part of the deception? Wouldn't it be better to assume I'm real, and ask me these important questions you have? Then, after I answer, you're free to wake up and decide what value those answers have when making your next decisions. Okay. Last time you were popping off about your, insane psychic imperialism? I was. Yeah, that's what you were hinting at. Then, what's your question? I don't even know yet. I guess I'm just trying to confirm what's going on here, based on the presumption you're real. As I just explained, I can't even confirm I am real, let alone confirm what you just asked. But I can continue doing as I've done, which is to speak of certain possibilities. Like what? Such as the possibility that I was not even the first Jubilee, as your manifesto describes. Huh? Are you saying you aren't? I'm saying you should consider the possibility that I'm not. Consider that I was once a member of a race of people on a far-off planet which was not called Whimsify, and who had never heard of the Jubilites, or even had any particular affinity for clowns. Man, what the fuck? Also, consider that I was visited in my dreams by a being that was self-described as the first Jubilite from a planet called Whimsify. And she told me everything I have told you. Eventually, she began telling me to consider even deeper truths about her reality. She began asking me to consider that she was not the first either. And then came the promises. Promises? She promised glory, infamy, immortality. She promised a transcendence of the physical form, of attachment to my original planet and culture. She promised even that I would rise above everything I accomplished, with the conquest of my own world. She told me there was so much more to discover, if only I persevered and achieved absolute victory. Are you telling me that's what's in store for me if I, win? I'm not telling you anything. I'm just asking you to consider, just as she was. Okay. I think I get the game you're playing. And the, weird verbal rules it has for some fucking reason. Whatever, I can play along. You already have been. And as I said before, you've been doing very well. So, when she told you that stuff, hypothetically, what did you do? I continued doing what I was already doing. Because regardless of where the ideas originated, I believed what I was doing for my world was right. But I continued with additional vigor. Because it was then that I began to believe I was becoming a crucial part of something which had a great cosmic significance. It seemed to me that I was assuming a place in a lineage of unfathomably consequential figures, which spans billions of years, and millions of years and billions of stars. I guess that's a sort of motivation. Sure. It doesn't sound like the type of idea which motivates you. No. I don't know. It's a fucking lie. That's a perfectly reasonable stance, and it is why my predecessor felt it was important to leave the truth of herself as speculative, and why I'm doing so with you as well. Because there is no motivation which can truly substitute the feeling of conviction that what you are doing is right. And that sense must come from within you, not from fairy tales of space and infamy. Well, I do think what I'm doing is right. But it's also really hard, and it's fucking up my friendship. And it's making me fucking sad all the time. I didn't say it was easy. In fact, I'm telling you the opposite, just as my predecessor told me. But it sounds like she lit a fire under your ass all the same. When she told you all the stuff, didn't she say you did it with, like, extra vigor? Yes. What does that even mean? It means I was brutal. Is this not what you wanted to hear? It sounds fucked up. And it sounds like what I'm already worried about. And what Abby's really worried about. I don't think I can hurt her anymore. I remember what it was like to have mortal concerns like these. I feel nothing but sympathy for what you're experiencing. But these are very small matters compared to the grand scale we are discussing. You must understand. It sounds like you're trying to convince me of being more hardcore about this. But trust me, dude, I'm already there. You really aren't. Man, I've made fucking lists, and I just shot a girl today, and she killed Abby's parents, and I am not lecturing you. I'm actually paying you a compliment. You have come so much further than I did in so much shorter period of time. How long did it take you? It took me many years to crush all forces of opposition on my plane. The lives lost were countless. You have spent only months pursuing your mission, yet incredibly, you are on the precipice of total victory. I am? The fact that success is so nearly within your grasp may not be obvious to you, but it is very clear to me. So, what I'm hearing is right. You've been coming into my dreams basically to finally tell me how much better I am at this than you? That is not inaccurate. But it is also foolish to be overconfident. And even more foolish to assume the level of brutality you've already inflicted will be remotely sufficient for completing your mission. Withdrawing now from your instincts for survival and the violence that flows from it naturally would be a great mistake. I don't know if I really... I mean, Abby thinks I should delete I should just delete these lists. She's not the supreme hunk of X. You are. I know. There were so many who opposed me too. Their methods and motivations were always the same. Ridicule, jealousy, conniving, greed, lust for your power. They will all try to kill you eventually, I promise. So I should... You remember why you wrote your lists originally, don't you? Yeah. Don't you remember what they did to deserve it? There is nothing else for me to say, because you already know this as well as I. The moment you wrote down their names, they were already dead. You wake up, and it's still nighttime. How long were you out? It couldn't have been more than a few hours. That dream was the most intense you've ever had. So intense you're bleeding somehow. And you've been gripping your phone so tight your hand hurts. What the... It appears your entire hater list has been copied into a text message addressed to Ring 3. Did you do this in your sleep? They've responded with understandable confusion. They're wondering what the purpose of this list is, what you want them to do. But you know there's only one possible reason you would have dropped this list here, unconsciously or otherwise. Understanding the correct moral choice is rarely that hard. You usually have more than enough information available to decide. A good friend who loves you, a girl who's done everything in her power to keep you from going astray. And offered as collateral was her heart, which should shatter if it fell too far. But there are other factors to consider. Factors which all good sense in the hearts of our loved ones have rarely been able to compete with. There is the factor of inevitability. Your vision was inevitable. The sledgehammer it's taken to the capitalist order of this planet was inevitable. And what is perhaps also inevitable is your wrath. As Riotous rightly pointed out, these people brought it on themselves. The moment they spoke your names with a sense of spite, they should have known they were speaking a suicidal curse, inviting this inevitability into their lives someday. Inevitability is defined by the forces which try to stop it. Its strength is measured by everything that gets in its way only to be crushed. The power of a nation, the heart of a friend, and even the conscience of the host, or that is to say, the vessel meant to deliver the unstoppable. Your conscience can make you bleed through the nose and turn your knuckles white to put up a fight against the inevitable. But just like every single one of these miserable fucking rats, it never even stood a chance. That was a busy chapter. I can't believe I've already been going for an hour. Right? Psycholonials is so good. You love to see it. Finally taking the gloves off, I mean. Makes it more real now. Like it's not a game anymore. Of course it was never a game to begin with. It's always been serious shit. But with the way some of these chuckle fucks like to run their mouths, you might never know it. Where did they think this was going to lead? Did they not understand that talking shit has consequences? That the Supreme Honkafax is not a woman with whom these sewer rats should trifle? Oh well. Problem solved. That's the thing about having loud, shitty opinions online. Once you stop existing, your bad opinions stop mattering. Like somebody once said, when there's a person, there's a problem. When there's no person, there's no problem. So it stands to reason that when lots of people disappear, a whole lot of problems go away, right? You fucking bet. Okay. Should we do the fake choice thing again? It's what you've come to expect from me after all. And just like you, I hate letting my fans down. Almost as much as I hate letting my antis off the hook. So what are the possibilities at this juncture? Not that it fucking matters, because you know I'm just gonna lock the thing again. But let's just agree to humor each other once more. One more time. Wait, on second thought, call off the hater purge you just ordered like a weak bitch. Boo-hoo-hoo, innocent people will die. Just forget you ever dreamed you were any sort of hard ass and go crying back to mommy in her grave like a scared little piss baby. I'm sure the world would understand. Or, you could embrace your destiny. Realize, like so many other great conquerors before you, that this is simply what it takes. Spare these worms not a single precious thought beyond the moment you gave that order. Embrace destiny. Of course, that wasn't gonna work. Yeah. We all know the drill now. Meaningful choices in this story can only be unlocked by a true successor, and that's still not you. Not quite yet. You're so damn close, though. It's like Riotous was just saying. You're really speedrunning this shit. Running so fast, almost seems like you're outrunning your own ability to stop, think, and make real decisions. Maybe once you figure out how to do that, it'll all finally click. The missing piece will fall into place, and that successor status, which you've fallen just short of for so long, it'll finally be yours, won't it? I just gave the whole fucking thing away, didn't I? Whatever. See you again soon, Jen. Grinch heart. One month later. The brand hasn't been doing too badly these days. In fact, it would be hard to imagine how it could be doing any better, considering your account now has more followers than any other account in the world, short of Instagram itself. But even then, with Instagram sitting at 358 million, you weren't too far from passing that milestone behind either. And you don't see much standing in your way of that feat, seeing as you recently made short work of the other names you once thought untouchable. It was 35 days ago you dealt with Joculin and ordered the great summer purge of 2020 later that night. While your covert ops people all over the world were quietly mowing down the haters and antis, your brand was busy zipping past the top accounts. In the final week of July, it was Kim Kardashian, then Selena Gomez, and finally Kylie Jenner. Three queens who you're quite sure would never bother to bat an eye at a pest like you. How quickly they've been reduced to relative obscurity and poverty compared to you. You doubt you'd even answer a text message from any one of them at this point. Days later, you'd topple actor and professional wrestler Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, followed shortly by a musician and actress named Ariana Grande. Impressive milestones to pass for sure, but by then you weren't even paying attention to them. Your eyes were squarely locked on the #1 spot, held by legendary footballer Cristiano Ronaldo. You had never heard of him, since you know nothing of soccer, but he's a good-looking guy and you made sure to blow him a kiss as you passed him. None of this is personal, unless they make it personal, in which case you have ways of dealing with that. And then you mostly checked out of observing the rise, letting almost another 100 million followers pile on top of that. The feeding frenzy fueling your brand is practically on autopilot now, and is undeniably political. Everyone in the world wants to keep an eye on the clown girl who somehow has her boot on the face of a hapless, disease-stricken, failed state known as America. But you're still somewhat taken aback by the continued success of your account, considering you don't post nearly as much content as you used to. It was once the most critical priority, pushing that content out every day. It was the sole driver of the numbers, whereas now the movement is, along with geopolitical complexity resulting from your every move. It was the sole driver of your numbers, whereas now the movement is, along with the geopolitical complexity resulting from your every move. There we go. Just as well. Producing a broad range of engaging social media content is a chore you really don't need, since you've got a rogue state to run. Rather than carefully planning shoots and crafting the perfect aesthetic as you have, you've mostly been getting by posting posing near all your sick and very expensive contraband. Fortunately, your subscribers seem more than appeased by these offerings. Speaking of geopolitical complexity, while a cold civil war has been simmering under the surface of daily American life since your treaty brought open hostilities to a relative standstill, there has been no such peace in many nations around the world. The Jubilite craze transcends culture and language barriers, and some countries have gone crazier with it than others. The media is most abuzz with the events of last week, which saw the fall of the Russian government. Jubilites ransacked the Kremlin and now have full control over the military. This was surprising to you. A Russian coup somehow wasn't on your radar at all, but you guess it wasn't too out of character for the nation. It was about 100 years ago that these people did roughly the same thing, after all. Maybe the instinct for leftist revolution passed on by their ancestors was activated by your radical clown messaging. Maybe it was in their blood all along, and that's why their shitty regime was the first to fall. But many other countries don't seem far behind, and appear to be on the brink of total collapse too, as the rowdy Jubilite factions continue to swell. If America is to share the same fate, it won't happen like it just did in Russia. America's brand of imperialism and capitalism was built to take a beating, designed to bring the whole world down with it if it's ever truly threatened. So however you play this, you'll need to tread very carefully. You'll need to prepare a good strategy, especially since if anything goes wrong, the backlash will be felt first and most fiercely by your tiny summer colony. In short, you'll need to prepare for war. So preparing for war is exactly what you've been doing this month. You have fully militarized the former island of Nantucket, with your advanced praxis methods still in full effect even without Joculin's oversight. The state of New Whimsify has amassed nearly $1 trillion in hard assets, and several trillion more in soft assets. The tabulation of these resources has never been an exact science, but then economists probably run into similar difficulties assessing the true extent of an entire nation's economic value. And that roughly describes the nature of your global movement now. It's a nation rivaling the gross national income of many industrialized countries, with its population and assets spread out across every country in the world. And that's pretty cool, you think? But that doesn't mean you're getting complacent. You have no intention of letting these assets go to waste. Counted among your hard assets are many tangible acquisitions, including caches of weapons, vehicles, fuel, all the supplies of war, and many other staples of societal self-sufficiency stashed in every nation you could name. All conceivable contraband necessary for a burgeoning global paramilitary organization. And then some. Much of this equipment has ended up on your island. You've established relationships with military contracting companies, which once viewed you with great suspicion due to your adversarial nature with their richest client, the US government. but recently they've become exponentially easier to do business with. You're discovering their allegiance turns out to be quite fungible when the executive starts smelling money, or even more intoxicatingly, a sea change in the entire world order. It's nothing you'll ever see covered in the media. But the moment Russia was seized by Jubilites, virtually the entire global economic order went into motion behind the scenes, beginning to rearrange itself to hedge all the bets. No one really knows who will come out on top of all this, and strangely, most of these people barely even care. They just don't want to be the left holding the bag if they didn't bet on the winner. They all remind you of Abby's dad, who found new religion through Biden once his money started feeling sad. Plutocrats, oligarchs, financiers, and war profiteers are always unknowingly eager to find new rings to kiss. And the newer and shinier the ring is, the faster they run to kiss it. You've just discovered another echelon of simps. It's simps all the way up society's ladder, and the higher they climb, the harder they simp. And so the transactions began to flow. A few fighter jets here, some anti-aircraft missiles there. Much of this war junk, to your surprise, actually came gratis. Friendly, appetizing lost leaders to grease the wheel. Friendly, appetizing lost leaders to grease the wheels. Meant to establish a good business rapport with a young and stylish up-and-coming warlord. The only warlord in human history with an absolutely fire... The only warlord in human history with an absolutely fire insta. I just went and fused that. Few outcomes leave you gobsmacked these days, but you have to admit, watching military companies tripping over themselves to give you billions of dollars worth of free shit is pretty high up on the list. On the home front, your inner circle has become considerably more insular and well-vetted. A new right hand has emerged, a loyal and quiet clown named Mizzlebit. She's been in Ring 3 from the very start, and her diligent, no-nonsense service has earned your trust. Yes, trust Mizzlebit. Protect Mizzlebit. She's not a bad helicopter pilot either, considering she just started figuring out this shit a week after the new shipment of Apaches arrived. But even as paranoia makes your inner circle shrink, your revenge list grows. Since the night your purge was issued, your assassins have been working steadily, and the body count has grown steeper. Abby, of course, wants nothing to do with this. Though she's retired from any formal position in the organization, she still hangs around the house, since she has nothing else to do and nowhere else to go. She just keeps herself distracted with her personal projects, which have been going about as well as anything else with the Jubilite craze lately. She's been working directly with the guy you'll never stop referring to as Rat Monster, even though that's not what his name is anymore. He and his bandmates have effectively taken control of South Korea, and are currently in negotiations with the previous government over how to handle the full transition of power. Unlike the raucous, wantonly clownish spectacle that took place in Russia recently, their revolution has been elegant and friendly, just like the boys themselves. The Korean government almost seems flattered that the boys offered to take over. Most of the country appears to be completely ecstatic about it. Inside, you find Abby in her usual spot carved out of the hovel that's become her summer home's once posh living room. You observe that it looks much more similar to your old apartment's depression nest than it does to her parents' original original interior decorating scheme. Empty bottles are everywhere. You'd be surprised if there was anything left in a previously decadent wine cellar. You shudder to think where some of these vintages came from. The Nantucket Stop and Shop? Yikes. She also seems to have taken to vaping weed and listening to loud music almost constantly. Whatever gets her through the days, you guess. Abby. Abby. Huh? Can you turn that down? You need to think about strategy. Yeah, sure. Seems kinda early for you to be this wasted. Sorry, I just hardly have anything to do anymore. I can't be on social media, there's nothing to do in town except, like, hang out with crazy people who treat me weird because of my celebrity. Also, the whole island is a cesspit of coronavirus, and I don't want to be contributing to that scene. Yeah, that sure became a fucking problem, didn't it? But it's also a problem everywhere else in this shitty country, so I don't know, kind of an easy target to blame the anarchists of Clown Island for losing control of a disease that the most powerful nation on Earth lost control of months ago. Oh, believe me, I'm well aware. That's why if I ever really wanted to leave this place, I'm not sure where I'd even go. America's hell, and I'm pretty sure I'm on the most wanted terror list by now. What about Korea? Your boy Rat Monster could always grant you some asylum. Doesn't he basically run that whole fucking country by now? I think so. The political situation there is confusing. I think he's working out some sort of deal with the existing government. A treaty of some sort, kind of like what you did. Oh yeah. It sounds like he's well on his way to being the de facto president. That's how these things go. With the support he has, I'm sure the old government will be vestigial in no time. Yeah, I have no idea. I haven't talked to him in a while. He's too busy and I don't want to bug him. It's one thing for me to want to encourage a coup initially, but now that it has a life of its own. I don't actually know anything about politics. I can't help these guys anymore. At the end of the day, I'm just an overzealous fangirl who got carried away. So that's a no on South Korean asylum? Damn. I guess I should cross it off my list too if the shit gets too hot. I don't know if it's a no. I don't know anything. It still feels completely insane to me that I was talking to them at all. I would feel presumptuous asking them to protect me from the full wrath of the American government. I guess there's always Fiji. Huh? That was my original getaway location, remember? Before I even came here. Oh. Yeah. Sounds fucking nice, actually. Yeah. I'm not even serious about leaving. I'd be scared to, I think. We're completely surrounded. What if the plane just got shot down? I guess that's possible. It's not like I want you to go either. With all due respect to Secretary Mizzlebib here, who's been solid as fuck. You're still all I've got. I'd absolutely fucking lose it if you weren't here, and that probably wouldn't be good for anybody. No, it sure wouldn't. Just forget I said anything. I'll go back to my trash pile and keep vaping all this weed. Oh, come on. As long as you're here and you got nothing to do, why not hang out with us and help? I told you already. I'm useless politically. This is all so far over my head now, it's all so insane and scary. There are too many dead people on the news all the time and too much military-industrial stuff all over the island. I know how fucked up it all is, but saying you're useless is bullshit. You helped me so much in the beginning. None of this could have happened without you. You were very smart and trustworthy and decent. The movement only suffers without your input. But you stopped listening to my input. I said how weird I felt about killing and stuff, and you just ended up putting a hit list on your entire insane list. Hits out on your entire insane list. Well, yeah. I was in a bad place that night. A bad place? How many people are dead now? Who even were those people? A broad consortium of abject filth who had it coming. But the point is, I probably wouldn't have done it if you just stuck around and kept me in line with, like, your good sense and morals or whatever. Ah! Z! You can't put this on me! Please don't make me feel responsible for the good or bad things you do. This is why I pulled back, because it hurts too much to feel complicit in every fucked up turn this takes. Do you know what emotional abuse is? If you say you're going to hurt people unless I keep being involved and play the role of your conscience, that's what it is. Oh. Damn. Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. Shouldn't have even said that. It was fucked up. Okay, look. I haven't ordered a single hit since that night. What a thing to say! Also, is it even true? I keep hearing about shit. Okay, it's mostly true. More people got added to the list, but not like antis or whatever. I mean like ghastly capitalist scumbags with real blood on their hands. Okay! Nothing like what happened that night, though. It was really off the deep end. Messed up about what my creepy stalker did to your parents and having crazy visions and shit. The only reason you keep hearing about stuff happening is because the guys keep working through the list. You know how they are. Like a damn dog with a bone. Jesus. What? This conversation is ludicrous. This is why I backed off. Do you even know what you're saying anymore? Acting like a mass execution list you signed off on a month ago is just something out of your hands now, and your clowny death brigade will do whatever it's going to do. The things I have to read in the news. The Bezos hit. That was you, right? I mean, he was on the list, yeah. Why was he even on the list? Is this what we're really gonna do now, Abby? Shed some sad liberal tears for Jeff fucking Bezos? No! I don't give a shit about Jeff Bezos. He sucked! Yeah, exactly. So what's your problem? Do you realize when he died, the Amazon stock didn't even go down? It went up, actually. So? So he was just some stooge. A little weasel man who barely even mattered. A guy who had too much money who thought he was important. Yeah, I'm not hearing an argument for why he should still be alive. I'm not even making an argument. I'm not sure what I'm trying to say. But maybe the point is it sounds like there are times when you don't either? I don't know. I think the statement was pretty simple. The dude was evil, and he had too much money because he had exploited all his workers, so now he's dead, which is good. Okay, and then what? Are those workers still being exploited? Oh, almost certainly. So what next? How do you stop that? I'm working on it. This is all a very complicated process involving a campaign being waged on multiple fronts at once. You'd know this if you actually stayed in the loop instead of lying around stoned all day. It's hard enough coordinating all this shit without your help, let alone when I have to contend with your liberal finger wagging. I'm not being liberal. This isn't some lib shit like think about poor Jeff Bezos nonsense. What the fuck do I even have to do to prove to you that I'm not Hillary fucking Clinton? I helped you steal my parents' money to fund your socialist clown movement, and then one of your backstabbing antis blew up their house. I hid you from the cops for weeks while you launched your brand, and then I went along with it while you planned the execution of the entire police force. And then I supported you when you faked a terrorist incident to steal literally thousands of homes from the residents of this island. How much more do I have to do to show I don't have any sympathies for the evil forces we've been fighting this whole time? Can you understand that if I'm wondering where you're actually going with these insane purges of haters and rich people, it's not about some ideological reservation? It has more to do with the fact that I'm actually scared of this whole situation you put us in? Yeah, I get that. I was never even married to the idea of knocking off everybody on my shit list. I could just put that order in to halt the operation. Is that what you want? No, because you're asking me again, which means you're implicating me in the decision-making process. You're outsourcing your conscience, which means I have the responsibility to stop you from doing bad shit. And I already told you I can't take the stress of that. I see. Maybe we should dial it down. We're yelling in front of Mizzlebip. He's very sensitive. I don't give a fuck about Mizzlebip! Wow. I'm sorry, Mizzlebip. You know what I mean. This has nothing to do with you. Okay, Mizzlebip's feelings notwithstanding. I think I see where you're coming from. You don't want to be like the angel on my shoulder or whatever. I already knew that. I was cool with you checking out. But it really sounds more like you're worried about what's going to happen to us because you don't think I have a coherent plan. Like I'm just offing guys for the hell of it and triggering the collapse of foreign governments, which kicks ass and all, but ultimately I don't know where this is going. Is that it? Yeah, pretty much. Okay then, help me with some plans. Get involved in these meetings so you can see I have a plan. That's what we were just about to do. See, Mizzlebip brought all these fucking maps. I can just walk you through the next play to help you set your mind at ease. Okay, I'll listen to whatever it is you're planning next. So we got Martha's Vineyard over here, right? Recent developments lead me to believe the time is ripe for an invasion. Well, not invasion so much as annexation. Mobilizing our ships past the naval blockade and sending aircraft over there to formally invade MV would be real dicey. Turn our cold conflict into a hot one too fast. But for a couple months now, our guys have been laying the groundwork on that island pretty much the same way they did here, but on a bigger scale. You know how it is there, it's just like here. Thousands of empty summer homes that can be easily occupied. The infiltration has already been underway. I just have to send the signal and our guys can take over the whole territory more officially. Like, raise our flag, crush the police, chase them all out. Then we put out some sick content online to formalize the annexation. Show how successful it was, and how easily the whole place fell. It's just as much about good propaganda as it is about expanding our territory so we can show the government we can't be contained and pushed around that easily. We'll have more leverage for the next phases of the operation. So, what do you think of the plan? Are you satisfied that I have an actual strategy yet? That I'm not just bullshitting my way through this? Sorry. Checking my calendar real quick. What? Oh my god! What's so funny? This is your plan? To invade Martha's fucking vineyard? Not invade. Annex! I don't believe this! Bitch, don't laugh. This is serious. It's a serious plan. It's fucking ridiculous! We can barely run one island as it is. Thousands of people here are sick. We're surrounded by the fucking Navy. They could shut off the power and supply chains anytime, really, or just outright storm the island if they finally get fed up. You want another island to deal with? Yeah, why not? What about the fucking treaty? You signed a non-aggression pact, and it was a miracle the government even allowed that in the first place. Believe me, I haven't forgotten about that piece of shit treaty, and it wasn't a miracle, it was just a lie. Something the government used to buy them some time while they figured out the best way to wipe us out while defusing the ticking time bomb all the mainland jubilates represent. They have no intention of honoring the treaty in the long run. When has America ever bothered with that? So I'm just doing what I always do. The best defense, no, the only defense is to always stay on offense. I'm preparing in advance for the moment they rip the treaty up. It will encourage jubilates everywhere to stake more claim over the rest of the country if we can secure more territory for the homeland. Homeland? Z, you moved here 3 years ago! You know what I mean. It wasn't even the homeland of the people we just kicked out. Nantucket is a native word. If we start talking about things that way, aren't we just doing, like, the things we said were bad? I don't know. I think I'm losing the plot here. It's perfectly simple. Yes, American imperialism is evil, so we are taking a stand against it. And the only way to do that is recapture and repurpose territory in order to weaken America. And this must be done even if we are not the original inhabitants of the land, because we have no choice. Otherwise, we'd have to sit back and say, go ahead, keep being evil, America, because we're all too much of a bunch of pussies to claim anything for ourselves. Get it? Yes, I do, but... Are you really telling me that you don't see any humor or absurdity to the fact that you're living in my living room? You're in my living room with a bunch of fucking maps plotting an invasion, or excuse me, an annexation of Martha's fucking Vineyard? A few months ago, you were struggling to wake up before 3 p.m. and cringe posting on TikTok. Yeah, well, I pulled my shit together, largely in thanks to you, in case you forgot. And actually, no, I don't see anything that funny about my annexation plans. It's serious shit. I'm fighting for our lives here. Why are you having a sudden attack of self-awareness and calling all this funny? It's not funny. You don't have to contribute to our planning sessions if you don't want to. But don't start treating me like a joke. I own fucking helicopters, bitch. The kinds with fucking missiles. I got, like, anti-aircraft jams all over this fucking island. I'm moving billions of dollars of deadly hardware around. Tanks and shit. Stop laughing! Nobody else in the world is laughing at me. They're all afraid of what I'm gonna do. And the ones who aren't are on pins and fucking needles anticipating my next move with zealous devotion. Fucking Russia fell, you silly bitch. You know who did that? Me! I did it! Do you have any idea how many nuclear weapons Russia has? Something like 7,000. I looked it up. Now I'm the one who controls those nukes. Do you actually, though? Yeah. Why wouldn't I? The Secretarian Jubilite movement in Russia looks to me for leadership. I've talked to those guys. They love me over there. They're just like my America fans. It's a whole army of simps who would do anything I said. Okay. And have you actually put that to the test? I mean, not yet? I've been fucking busy here. What would I even tell them to do? That's a pretty good question. Seems like a question someone who is just bragging about assuming full control over Russia should be able to answer. I don't think you really get how this works. I'm the supreme honk effects of a global movement. I need to be able to delegate. Like, let the Russian guys figure shit out over there because I don't really know how anything works there. But you were just saying you're the one who controls that country and all their nukes. Seriously, what would you even plan on doing with those nukes? Like, nothing. It's what you're supposed to fucking do with them. You just let them sit there menacingly. It's about deterrence and shit. Didn't you play Metal Gear? Is that what that game was about? I thought it was just a super long yaoi series. Well, of course it is, but it's also about that. I'm not trying to mess with you here. I'm just trying to follow whatever your logic is. You control Russia and its nukes, but you won't use the nukes because obviously that's insane. So what does controlling that country even mean? How are you using that to your advantage when you defend us from American aggression? Well, first of all, now if the US wants to attack us, it's almost like attacking Russia, right? They'd have to consider global retaliation possibilities, like any basic geopolitical alliance. Sure, but if you keep escalating with the US government, have you really thought about what that alliance means? There's a reason Russia with all its nukes never fucked with America. Because if they tried, it would be a huge mess, like World War III. Then the nukes might start going off, and if that happens, everybody loses. So it seems like all you're really doing here is creating situations that are increasingly elaborate stalemates? Yeah, I think you have just fucking described the basic objective of international politics throughout all of world history. I still don't know what your point is. You also seem to be taking it as a given that the coups in Russia and whatever else are resulting in stable situations. Are you even sure about that? Now that you have a bunch of loyal clowns occupying your Kremlin or whatever, do you have any idea what sort of government they're going to establish? Yeah? A better one. Is there a president? Do they have a parliament or something? Is there a constitution? Yeah, the Jubilite Manifesto. Your manifesto doesn't even say anything about running a country. It's mostly a bunch of absurd clown lore that came from your dreams, a lot of esoteric gender theory, half of which we both pulled out of our ass one day, and a detailed manual of how to prank rich people out of their money. There's nothing at all about governance or how to actually apply our socialist ideas in the form of a coherent state that emerges from the vacuum after all these revolutions you're causing. Did you even think about any of this? Of course I didn't! Because my fucking clown manifesto wasn't supposed to make me accidentally take over the world! It was just some preposterous shit I wrote for fun, and also possibly because I'm super fucked up and have brain problems. And one thing led to another, so all I could ever do was focus on survival. I haven't even had time to think about what the best way to manage society would be. The forces we're fighting won't even give me time to think about it. I feel like I can't even breathe. The stuff we're up against is suffocating. So all I can do is put my full attention on trying to defeat them. Once we've achieved total victory, there will be plenty of time to sort out how to run governments and shit. But all that is happening now? Other collapsing countries literally need those answers right now. Or fucking what? You're still laughing! Why are you laughing at me? I'm sorry. I can't help it. I think I've had too much weed and the situation is just... I can't even handle this fucking conversation. To think the fate of the world hangs in the balance of whatever the fuck it is we're doing here. Stop laughing at me. That's so fucking uncool. Okay, maybe I don't have a perfect post-revolution plan, but so fucking what? That doesn't take anything away from what I've accomplished here. I fucked around a bit this summer and practically brought the whole world to its knees. Do you have any idea how shitty this country was? How bad life was for people who didn't have billionaire parents? Have you even grasped yet how this pandemic exposed we were actually living in a failed state? Well, who the fuck was doing anything about it? Obama? His rapey sidekick grandpa? Your K-pop boys? Nobody was! I'm the one who had to kick the shit out of this country. I'm the one who had to who lit a fire under everyone's ass to rip our capitalist nightmare state apart, while all the other weaklings were content to wait around for a useless election to solve their problems. And now you, of all people who helped me do all this, have the audacity to laugh at me? Like I'm some shitty child throwing a tantrum. Well, fuck this. So what if I am throwing a tantrum? Fuck these maps. Fuck Martha's Vineyard. You're fucking right. I don't need to plan a fucking annexation. When I want Martha's fucking Vineyard, I'll snap my fingers and Martha's Vineyard will be fucking mine. Do you even know who you're dealing with? Does anybody fucking know yet? I am Z! I am the successor to Riotous, Lord Queen of the Jubilites! I am conquering this pathetic planet 100 times faster than he managed to. And you want to know the funny thing, dear Abigail? It wasn't even hard! See, I'm sorry for laughing at you. You're right. There's no point in asking all these questions now. I should have brought this up a lot earlier. Back when we could have made better plans for the aftermath of all this. I was just as caught up in it as you were. It was fun, Z. The most fun I've ever had with anyone. I didn't want to ruin it with stuff like moral confrontations or whatever. I think mostly I was doing it because I did it because I just wanted you to like me. You hear a distant explosion somewhere. Oh, shit. The power's out. Mizzlebip, check if the blackout is only here or the whole island. This better be not what I fucking think it is. She indicates her phone isn't getting any internet service. Fuck! What's happening? They might be making their move. If that's what's going on, then they're going for it a lot sooner than I thought they would. Who do you think? The fucking government. Gotta switch to our satellite internet backup system. Need to figure out what's happening on the rest of the island. Mizzlebip, come give me a hat. What the fuck is happening? I don't know. A group of hostile Jubilites appear to be the aggressors here. Pack of familiar clowns you haven't seen in a while. Not since tightening up your inner circle. Your guards spring into action, defending the compound. Abby, get somewhere safe. Safe? Where? Head to the basement. I'll take care of this. Get the fuck off of me. It's happening. It's time. Who put you up to this? You hear screaming. It's Abby. Sounds like it's coming from outside the house. Oh God, you hope she's not hurt. Abby. Oh, thank God you're okay. Oh. God, your horse. Abby, I'm so... Please. I can't. Just stay back. You can't do this, Z. You have to stop pulling me back in. Can't you see this is ruining me? I'm losing everything. My parents, my house, my poor horse. I think I even lost you. You're still here, but you're not. I lost the person you used to be to this insanity, and now I have to go. What? Where? No, please don't, Abby. I'm leaving the island. Right now, I just have to go. I'll take a jet to South Korea. I don't even care if they'll grant me asylum. My heart can't take another second of this. Abby. Goodbye, Z. I'm sorry, David. I failed you. I failed Abby. I failed everybody on this island. Maybe everyone in the world. I'm so sad. I can't take this. I should probably just go with her, shouldn't I? Who did this to you? Who did all of this? It was fucking mutiny. But how did this start? Who's the rat? Mizzlebip informs you she found this on the body of one of the mutinous clowns. She meekly asks you if you could if you had any idea what it could mean. Never mind. I'm not going anywhere. Later, the sun has gone down, and Abby's home is all but lost to the fire. But not before you and Mizzlebip rescued some much-needed equipment and retreated to the horse barn. You've hooked the satellite internet dish and router up to a portable power source. Mizzlebip offered her phone's backup battery, which still had enough juice to power the setup for a while. This allowed you to spend some time catching up online with what just happened. You communicate with others on the island who've rigged up similar setups. It's as you thought. The government blew the underwater lines that power everything here. They detonated the bombs on this side of the water, which means there could be any number of operatives deployed, not just the ones you and Mizzlebip just took out. You find it utterly contemptible. CIA? They're up to their old shit. Embedding agents in enemy countries engaging in subversive activity, trying to topple governments from within. You should have known this would be the play. You just didn't think they'd be this blatantly aggressive this soon. They're breaking the treaty a lot earlier than you thought they would. Well, that's a decision that will come with a steep price. You scrap all your plans. Everything about the carefully plotted annexation of Martha's Vineyard. All your patient long game stuff, every bit of it is going in the garbage. You're about to start winging it. During this entire campaign, you've always felt at your most powerful when you're improvising, when your survival instincts are kicking in. That's when your enemies have always had the most to fear, and tonight will be no exception. You begin relaying messages to everyone on the island who has a connection. You tell them to get the word out wherever they can that she's going to address everyone in person. You target the local high school, which has been vacant for months. You notice on the map it has a football field with bleachers. That should be perfect. By habit, you open your outgoing text message with Ring 3, but quickly close it. No use texting a bunch of dead clowns, half of which turned out to be traitors. You work your way further down the chain of command and give everyone the message to spread. Meet at the field at midnight. Light it up with whatever they've got. Headlights and bonfires. Mizzlebip will stream what you say via satellite. You will speak to your people when they need you most. You will speak to the entire world. Midnight. Your eyes scan the dark landscape for the high school. It's not hard at all to spot from a great distance. Looks like they got the message. The field is full of clowns fervently anticipating the arrival of their supreme honk effects. Even from 1,000 feet above, you can tell the atmosphere is electric. Little is more important than the skillful implementation of theatrics, as this nation is about to be rudely reminded. The United States of America has begun its siege against us. They cut the power, shrouding this island in darkness. But does this football field look dark to you? You brought your own fire to the field, flooded the pitch with your high beams. And I can see you. I can see all of you. And so can the world. They actually believe this will work. They believe we will cower. They believe we will whimper, then snap at each other like dogs and fight amongst ourselves. That our resolve will deteriorate, that we will tuck our tails and run the moment we lose electricity. The moment we can't check our phones all day, the moment we're forced to log off. That is how much they think of us. That is what they think we're made of. That the moment we wonder about the future of our ability to eat, the moment we fear the walls will close in and their troops will storm our shores, they think our fear will cause our members to peel off, scatter, and disband, while the rest of us watch our depleting ranks get back in their boats and fuck off back home. But they forgot to take one thing into consideration. This is our home now! They believe we are afraid, but I'm standing in front of you all for the first time, and I don't see any fear here. I see only determination. Don't you understand how much they tip their hands? When they show how much they think we will fear them, it's for one reason only. It's because they are the ones who are afraid. They project their fear of us onto what we stand for onto us. And because they see their own fear in us, they presume we will shatter under the same kind of pressure that they know would shatter them. You hear how they talk about us in the corporate media? You see the stories, the contemptuous tone, the fucking finger wagging? They look at our gatherings from their aerial footage, spying on us from the safety of their studios, insulated by their enormous salaries. And they judge, and they scold. They say, look at these fools. Shouldn't they be sheltering in place like the rest of the country? Shouldn't they be getting ready to vote in another hollow election? Shouldn't they just be going home and restoring the country to the very sense of order and comfort that was fucking lost? The order and comfort that never even fucking existed? But look at our situation. What choice do we have but to gather together when faced with our own annihilation? How convenient it is for rich media personalities and political hacks to sit there in hypocritical reprimand, telling us we all need to stay apart, when their own genocidal response to this pandemic has shown us all how badly the vermin who hold power need to be overthrown. There's this lame fucking landmark in America. A place kids go to field trips to see, pretty close to where I grew up. It's called Plymouth Rock. I remember when I first went to see it, what I felt. I thought, that's it? It's fucking tiny. You picture the Rock of Gibraltar or whatever. Thing's only like 6 feet wide. It's a pitiful little pellet. And that's exactly what it reminded me of. Like a fucking BB. A sad little iron ball like something a rabbit would shit out, shoved into an antique musket and fired the fuck across the Atlantic Ocean. It embedded itself in the flesh of this land long ago, making a faint pockmark that could have healed quickly, but there was one problem. This pellet was laced with poison. It seeped through the veins of this land gradually, east to west, surging up and down through vast arteries like the Mississippi. It put rot in this soil, and we were born to it, forced to walk it, and pretend like the land under our feet isn't in agony from the atrocities wrought by this poison. That's all I could think when I was a kid on my field trip to that little rock. I kept asking myself, why was this ever enshrined? But today, finally, it makes sense to me. Its enshrinement is a glaring acknowledgement of the shallow moral basis for the so-called American experiment. The size of that shitty little pebble symbolizes the moral strength of this nation's settlement and subsequent conquest. Celebrating that rock is almost like an American in-joke, and the punchline is that there's no moral basis for the establishment of this nation at all. The foundation on which America was built is diseased, rotten, and the absolute brink of societal collapse is where this fool's errand got us. I see that little pebble, and I see a fucking Grinch heart. And no matter how much Whoville sings, I promise you, this is one heart that'll never grow even 1 inch bigger. So fuck that pitiful rock. But this whole island, this is our fucking rock! It's 1 billion times bigger, stronger, and rooted deep in the ocean. It's not fucking going anywhere, and neither are we! The revolution we begin today has orders of magnitude more clarity and righteousness than whatever the fuck was going on in the minds of those raggedy, murderous settlers who washed up on these shores so long ago. So I want to make something fucking clear to whoever's listening out there. In no uncertain terms, I am now declaring it is our intention to completely and utterly destroy the United States government. We will replace this vile, corrupt, imperialistic farce known as American democracy and replace it with a mode of governance that is not intrinsically predicated on centuries of terror and genocide, and one that instead meets every need of its people without excuse or compromise. What has this nation really given you? What do you have to show for your unconditional allegiance, your patience, your sense of duty, your votes, and your good faith? All of it is rewarded by what exactly? A choice between 2 demented, corrupt, babbling elderly rapists? Your lifetime of devotion has earned you the honor of existing in the one nation on Earth, which is far and away the most conceivably worst response to a global disease, which may as well have been an advanced version of the fucking flu! These liars! Frauds, conmen, and charlatans who fill the ranks of the media, corporations, political parties, and government. These are bastard weaklings who you would continue to simp for? Enough! Give up on this failed state once and for all, and join us as we rise up. To all in the government who would try to suffocate us on this island, who fear me, who want nothing more than to crush all of us here and be done with it, know this! Not a single soul on this island is who you have to worry about anymore. Who you must worry about now is everyone else in this fucking country. We are everywhere! We are pissed! We are resolute! And we will fucking destroy you! We will burn the apparatus which keeps all of you rich and powerful. We will cast those ashes into the sea, and we will rest at nothing until we have completed our mission. Jubilates of America! Jubilates of the world! Make yourselves seen! Make yourselves heard! This is a war I may have started, but tonight I am trusting all of you to finish it! You've put enough distance between yourself and the football field revelry that you suddenly notice the silence. It's a disturbing silence. A loud one, like the one you noticed that fateful night 4 months ago. The noise made by the ominously humming well of sadistic potential. Satanic potential. The noise you can never hear unless you think to listen for it, and by the time you notice you're listening, it's too late. You can't stop hearing it. And once you're tuned into it, you begin noticing other sounds you can't be sure weren't there before, like the sounds of distant aircraft becoming less distant with each passing moment. Were those military planes cruising there before? And what about those? There's always aircraft probing your island. It's nothing new. But did your speech change anything? Are these ones closing in? Are these the ones that will finally end it all? You listen more closely. You can't tell. All you can hear is the damned silence. The humming in your head going on and on since you made the mistake of noticing. The devil is humming a quiet little tune at you, almost like he's just been amused. And you doubt he's ever found much cause to express pleasure unless many, many people are about to die. Z? What the fuck did I just do? End of chapter 8. All right. We're saving this for next week. That's all for tonight.